morning, everybody. Just wanted to check in towards the end of our day. We're driving towards Pennsylvania, towards State College, Pennsylvania, and just left Lordstown not too long ago. Started the day in Detroit, Michigan, with a number of really amazing meetings with some truly terrific people. And Chris, Cynthia, and I want to say thank you to everybody who showed up, who asked a question, who took some time out of their day, including one name sticks in my head, Taylor, who was at Narrow Way,
right,
in Detroit on Livernois Street. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but she said that she and her friend had not gone to school today in order to come out and say hello and see us and ask a question. But we were in Centerline, Warren, at Hometown Heroes, which is a great restaurant, diner, coffee shop owned by a veteran who was kind enough to open it up to us. And what he said when I walked in at the start of the day, he said, I'm going to open this up for anybody. So, I took that to mean Republican, Democrat, anyone who's a contender, so that our community has the benefit of getting to meet them and they have the benefit of getting to hear from the community. So I liked his approach a lot and loved that he made his restaurant open and available to all of us. So thank you for doing that. We then got to spend some time in Ferndale at the Carpenters Training Center. And we want to thank Tom and everybody who took us through what's going on there, especially some of the students there who are learning trades that they're going to be able to turn into careers, jobs. Many of them already working jobs in the greater Detroit area and getting ready for other jobs, that'll come down the line. Mentioned that we came back to Detroit to go to Narrow Way, some of the best coffee. In fact, one of our top coffee places anywhere in Michigan. Highly recommended if you haven't been there. Got to spend some time in Cleveland earlier today. We went to a place called Gino's, and I forget Gino's full name, but Gino's in Cleveland. You know who you are. And again, thanks to everyone. A lot of people couldn't get in and waited outside. We had a chance to say a few words to the folks waiting outside, and then went inside, had a great kind of town hall meeting where answered questions, introduced myself, and then we came back outside and answered a couple of questions one-on-one and got to take some pictures. Then just met a really amazing person, Dave Green, who is the president of UAW 1112 in Lordstown, a town that has suffered thousands of job losses, a really proud community that has added so much value to GM in the cars and vehicles and parts that they make there, and a person in their UAW president in Dave Green who's doing everything he can to fight for his members, for their families, for the community. So as he made it clear to me, the ripple effects of these plant closures, and technically GM is saying they haven't closed the plant, but effectively, functionally, they have closed the plant. He says, it's the barbershop, it's the restaurant, it's everyone who depends on that economy. And it's a state that has invested $82 million in GM's success there. It's the value of the state of Ohio's investment in GM. It's a corporation that pays next to nothing in taxes. It's a corporation that benefited from a $2 trillion tax cut signed by President Trump that disproportionately goes to corporations like GM. GM used that money to buy back stock from their shareholders instead of investing in their communities like Lordstown or their employees like these UAW members. Really appreciate Dave spending some time with us. He had a long day. He'd been attacked by the president yesterday, and I really thought was a lesson in how to respond to something like that. He kept the conversation elevated. He didn't get personal in return, didn't get partisan in the slightest. Really made this about his community and his members and those jobs. He told us about one of his members.
Hey, Beto, I have low battery. Will you hold this one side over here and push it in? There, hold it for me just for a second.
Yep.
There you go. Okay, perfect. Sorry, didn't want us to.
That's all right.
Okay, there we go.
Do you need a charger?
Nope.
You got it?
Hold on, let me just make sure we're plugged in. Yep, looks good. Okay, we're good.
So Dave was telling us about one of his members who, now that they have reallocated, I forget what the exact word is, but is that what they called? Reallocated? I forget. There's a term of art for shutting this plant down where they don't just say we're shutting the plant down. But essentially, there are some who've been able to keep their jobs only if they're willing to travel to other states to keep those jobs. And he explained to me that in order for you to get your full retirement benefits, full health care for life as a GM retiree, you have to stay 30 years. So some of these women and men are at year 25, year 26, year 27, and now this plan is closing, and some of them have the option to travel to another state, and they're taking it. And he talked about one of his fellow members of the UAW who has to travel 8 hours to now work the same job that he had previously been able to work in Lordstown, and how he effectively has had to leave his family. And he's got this 5-year-old boy who he says clings to him for dear life on the one day that his dad is home every week, but where he has to go make that 16-hour round trip to go work that job. So I just was so struck, so impressed by Dave, and just the way he carried himself and the way he spoke to us, and the way that he fights for his members and for his hometown. Just an amazing human being. So grateful for the time that he spent with us. We earlier today in Cleveland, before we went to Gino's, not too far from Gino's is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And though we only had 20 minutes, and though the ticket price was $26, meaning that we paid more than $1 per minute of our time there, it was really special to be able to do that. And glad that we got a chance to see that part of Cleveland's history, something that Cleveland is so proud of. The town that has a lot to do with the birth of rock and roll in America, 1951. If you can imagine that, all the way back then. And the DJ in Cleveland coining the phrase rock and roll and having a big rock and roll festival, or I don't know what he called it, jamboree or hootenanny in Cleveland, and really popularizing globally this uniquely American art form. And in the museum, getting to see displays on Otis Redding, on the Supremes. Saw a great classic picture of Smokey Robinson, who's one of my favorite all-time songwriters and performers. Saw the handwritten lyrics from Joe Strummer of The Clash. You had
Aretha
London
Franklin.
Calling. What's that?
Aretha Franklin.
Yep.
Yep.
You had a little scrap of paper of some of the lyrics from Lost in the Supermarket. You had Paul Westerberg, another one of my favorite songwriters. Here Comes a Regular. You can see the original lyrics that he wrote out. It was just a real treat to be there. And some of the team that works at the museum, at the Hall of Fame, were kind enough to guide us through for the 20 minutes or so that we were there. So definitely next time in Cleveland, we want to come back to that.
We got hats.
We got hats? Oh,
They gave us.
I got a hat somewhere in
We
here.
did. Yeah.
What else, Kano? Any
Chantel Brown.
what's that?
Miss Brown did an amazing job.
Oh, so I should have said that. County councilwoman and county chairwoman Brown was phenomenal tonight.
Yep, she sure was. She fired everybody
OH!
I.O.
There you go. I was hoping
Took a
somebody
while
was
for the
going to
sound to
respond.
travel
Sorry.
back here.
Sorry.
I think OH!
I.O. B.E.
E?
B.E.
So anyhow, she does it far better than we do, and we won't
Still
even try
learning.
to. But our thanks to her and everyone who came out tonight in Cleveland. That was great. Really, really, really good.
So a lot of people on the live stream are asking, when are you going to their part, their community, their city? And so this is just day 4?
Five.
Day 5.
It only feels like day 4.
It does,
It's day
yeah.
5.
It's day 5.
No, it's a big country. There's a lot for us to do to make sure that we reach everybody. Just know that we're coming your way. We've already been to Iowa, not all of Iowa, but southeast and northeast Iowa, to Milwaukee and Madison, in Wisconsin, to Detroit and surrounding areas in Michigan, to Cleveland and Lordstown in Ohio, and we're now on the road to where we're going in Pennsylvania tonight. So
Yeah.
we'll be there soon. Campaign for the entire country, going everywhere. This is a good driving song.
Chris is back there too. You guys can't see. Turn the light on, Chris. Can't see you.
One light.
There's no light?
There's no light back here.
Let's see.
Sorry.
Boom! There he is!
What's up?
Hey, I like your hat.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good day?
You want to know where I got it?
Yeah. You guys read that? Rock and
Rock
roll.
and roll. Rock and roll.
Remember our friend Grace
I'll
do.
never
in
forget
Texas?
Grace.
Yep.
How old was Grace?
Like 5?
She
4?
was like cute
She
years
was
old.
like 5 maybe, I don't know.
She'd go rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
She would just stare at you and then she would just go rock and roll.
Oh, it's great.
Like you could be like across a field from her and she'd be like rock and roll.
Grace, if you're watching out there, we're thinking about you in Pennsylvania, on the road. Hopefully getting to see you in Texas before long. Algo más? Any questions? So the question is, when are we coming to your town, to your state? As soon as we can. And a big thanks to everybody who's kept us on the road so far, everyone who's made a contribution at BetoO'Rourke.com. That's our website. That's our URL.
Yeah.
BetoO'Rourke.com. You can sign up to be part of the largest grassroots campaign this country's ever had. That's the aspiration. That's what we're trying to get to. We're a long way towards getting there, and you have helped us. Folks in every one of the 50 states have also signed up to be contributors to the campaign financially. Folks giving $5, $10, $15. If you can give $10 right now, keep us on the road. Make sure that we get to everybody. You can do that at BetoO'Rourke.com as well.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, I have a question for you. Who's watching your cat? Somebody is asking who's watching your cat.
Oh, my cat?
Yeah.
My neighbor is watching my cat. My neighbors are 7 and 9, and their mom. The 3 of them are watching my cat for me. And in a big development in my cat's life, the cat now just enters their space. So it's a big change in my cat's life. Before they would come to the cat, now the cat just roams free. So yeah, big life changes.
Right. Let's see what else before we sign. Huh?
Oh, I was just gonna say, and we're all very happy right now because we just had a big hearty meal at Cracker Barrel, topped off with blackberry cobbler ice cream. So good.
Beto, Olivia's saying, how do you not lose your voice when you're doing such a great job talking all day? How do you take care of your voice?
That's Olivia.
Yeah.
Olivia, thank you for the question and the compliment. Nice of you to say. Well, we're only, as Cynthia said, 5 days into the campaign, so a lot of time and a lot of people to listen to, a lot of introductions for us to make. But we've been lucky that we basically, for the most part, been in really pretty, smaller, I shouldn't say smaller relative to what, but just, spaces that are small enough that I don't need a megaphone or a microphone, and for the most part, and we can all just hear each other out. So I guess that's why.
Yeah. If folks want to donate, where should they go to donate? You're asking.
Beto O'Rourke. So BETOOROURKE. It's a mouthful. BetoO'Rourke.com. And you can sign up for the campaign. You can also make a donation. We've also seen some folks wearing some campaign gear at some of the events. And I think you can buy that on the website as well. The reason I mentioned that is your purchase of that t-shirt or that hat. I don't know if we have signs yet.
We do.
We do.
We
or
have.
that sign.
Do we?
Yes, we do.
All of that goes towards the campaign. I mean, it goes towards purchasing and making the sign and shirt and sticker and hat, but part of that also goes to the campaign. So any way in which you can support what we were all trying to do, we would be grateful.
So Annie, sorry, let me just tell Annie, and then you tell me. Annie is telling me, get Beto some throat coat tea. She was a former opera singer, and it's the best. Annie, thank you.
Annie is an opera singer. I love it.
Isn't that
Thank
cool?
you.
Spotify.
This is the power of Facebook Live. We are getting live advice from a former opera singer. So do you want to put throat coat on the list?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. Thank you, Annie. And then last thing, we're getting a lot of shout outs to Artemis, Beto. There's Artemis. A lot of people are. Yeah, shout out to Artemis on Twitter. I think Artemis has her own Twitter. Right.
I'm missing Artemis right now, and Artemis's sister Rosie. So Rosie's like 15 plus years old. Artemis is 3+ years old, and so they're good complement to each other. So thanks everyone for thinking about Artemis and Rosie too. They're doing well, and Artemis is missed. She's a great trail dog, running dog, friend dog, just a good dog.
Yeah. Chris, did you have something? And then I have a question for Beto.
I do. I got 2 things. Jeanette says, Beto, see if your mom will make more of those yummy desserts.
Oh.
The 7 layer bars. Those were good. Those were good. And then Cynthia Jen says, Cynthia, how are your kiddos doing?
Thank you. That's my buddy Jen, who we met. Where can I remember exactly where I first met her, but she was an amazing ambassador. Thank you for asking, Jen. My kids are good. Isabel, my oldest, is they're all happy because they're on spring break, but she is almost done getting her master's in speech language pathology. My son Mo is going to community college, and Isaac is also going, so they're doing well. Thank you for asking.
Oh, I have one more. Jackie says, Cynthia was a boss in Cleveland. You've got the best staff, Beto.
Oh, I know I do. Yeah.
Jackie.
Cynthia, what? You weren't only a boss then, you're always a boss.
Well, you know what? I'm grateful for everybody not getting mad at me when I'm pushing Beto away, and I'm so sorry. I always feel bad. Just know that as I drag Beto away, because I know he would stay and talk to everybody if he could. So somebody asked, and I lost their name. I'm sorry. They wanted to know why you got into politics. I thought it was a great question.
Oh.
Yes. Let me see if I can find their name. But they want to know, Beto, why did you get into politics?
Baby, I am asking for too much. Darling, please don't ever break.
Lloyd Price, I
That's
think.
a great-
Is that his name?
Oh, it was Jennifer.
I got into politics first volunteering for other candidates in other campaigns. Really, honestly, probably as a little kid, being pressed into service on my dad's campaigns. He was running for county judge in El Paso in '82 when I would have been 10 years old. So I remember that kind of. I remember my dad supporting other candidates, and by extension, our family would be supportive of them. So I remember Jesse Jackson coming to El Paso, Texas. That was a big deal. And my dad was working on his campaign. I remember Walter Mondale. I remember local races, city council, school board races. Friends who ran for office. My friend Gwen, who ran for school board in '03, worked on that campaign with David. And then, I'd gotten real involved in the community also as I owned a business with some friends, and we're just really engaged in the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and other local organizations. And the more I got involved, the more I wanted to get involved, and ultimately that led to running for city council. And I loved it. I mean, I'd run because I was really excited about El Paso, wanted to be part of ensuring that our community was firing on all cylinders and firing on all cylinders for everybody in the community. And so, ran for office, wanting to see if we could do better. Got the chance to serve for 6 years, loved it, held a kind of a town hall meeting every single week at the Village Inn on Mesa near UTEP at 7 a.m. on Mondays, explaining how I voted last week, taking your questions on the agenda for the Tuesday council meeting the day after. Brought that same approach to Congress, but also in the way that we've campaigned. We showed up to every county in Texas in our Senate race, 254 counties. And I love it. I love being with people. I love serving people. I love working with people. I like getting stuff done. So, all that was my path into public service, running for office, and feel very, very lucky that I get to do this. So, we were at a really, really cool meeting yesterday in Milwaukee with a group that's called Emerge, and it is women from the greater Milwaukee area who are office holders or who are running for office, and some of them first-time candidates. And they've got what it takes. Almost every single one of the women that I've met is just driven by a passion to serve, doing it the right way, knocking on doors, talking to people, listening to them, incorporating what they hear into the campaigns they run. It was really inspiring to me, and feel very grateful that we were invited to be there and learn about what they are doing. So that was great. Was at a meeting later in the day with a group called Block that works in some of Milwaukee's poorest zip codes, and in a zip code that is the most incarcerated zip code in the country. I learned from Angela, who's a leader at Block, and went out with their canvassers to knock on doors. And with Block, you're knocking on doors not so much to support a given candidate, but to really literally ask the people whose doors you knock on what's most important to them in their neighborhood. I heard things like policing. They wanted to see more regular police patrols in the part of North Milwaukee that we were in. A concern about dumping and the trash that is left there by others who are passing through the community. Some concerns about the president that came up, even though those weren't local concerns. So really grateful for everyone who's stepping up and leading, whether you're a candidate for office, holding office, or whether you're just organizing at the community and neighborhood and block level. Love meeting everybody who's doing that.
Jarrett wants to know what's written on your hand.
Oh, okay. So this is, I don't know if you can see this, Kano.
There we go. You guys see it? Let me get a little close up.
Did you hear that?
Oh, I like that. I heard that.
Look out, Cleveland.
All right.
The band. This is Lincoln, and he was at the event at Narrowway in Detroit, and he was a star.
Yeah.
He was taking pictures. He was having his picture taken, and he agreed to write his name on my hand.
Yep.
So I've got Lincoln's name on my hand.
I'm gonna attempt to show you guys. I got a picture of it. It's super cute. So there is Lincoln writing his name on Beto's hand. There we go. Super cute.
Yeah, really liked him. He was there with his dad. We got to talk to them briefly as we were leaving. What a great meeting. Again, more local leaders. So a transgender woman at the meeting who talked about violence perpetrated against transgender women of color and the lack of accountability, real questions about enforcement of the law when it comes to hate crimes against transgender Americans and specifically women of color. And beyond asking the question and listening to my answer, she agreed to help guide us, advise us, make me a better candidate, and make me a better servant to her and others as president. And so, again, another example of service in the community.
Cool. So should we sign off now, Beto?
Can I
Anything
tell
else?
people where we're going to be tomorrow?
Yes, please.
Go for it, Chris.
Hold on. Let me give you a light.
Okay.
Gotta do all the effects. All right, Chris is gonna tell you where we're gonna be tomorrow.
Are you ready?
Ready?
All right. So tomorrow we're going to be at Penn State College. We're going to be in the Hetzel Union Building.
Go Penn State.
Hetzel Union Building at 10 o'clock. So come join us. It's room number...
Is that PM or AM?
That
Chris?
is the AM.
Oh, that's
That's the AM. It's room number 129 ABC, or as some would say, 129 ABC. And it is at the Hetzel Union Building, 10 a.m., Penn State. Hope to see you there. You know, Beto always says everyone's welcome, so.
Is that all? That's the update?
Is that the
Let me
update?
turn the page. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, cool.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Chris. Good night.
Chris,
Bye.
Criscano,
Good
night.
everyone out there,
See you
good
this
night.
morning.
Bye, guys.
Let's see, you don't want to see what the next...
Huh?
Okay, let's go.
No.
Oh no! This is a good song.
We got to see his Ziggy Stardust outfit today.
Yep.
All right.
Good night.
Oh, are you still on?
Night.
Good night.
Ziggy plays guitar